What I'm about to say next is going to be very, and I mean very unpopular, but this is as unbiased as it gets, and I firmly believe it. So I know what you're sitting here saying. Well, Matt, what are you trying to tell me? What are you trying to say, man? I'll tell you this much. It's very fitting that the two most marketable teams in these games made the Super Bowl. Do what you want with that information. Man, oh man. You know what we're about to talk about. You know, so strap in, buckle up. It's going to be an interesting video to say the least. And let's just say, I got a lot to say. The NFL script was somewhat flipped, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about in just a second here. First things first, before we divulge into everything, let me pay my respects and clap it up, clap it up, clap it up to the Chiefs and the 49ers. Big congrats to them and their fan bases, because I know their fans are extremely happy because nobody wanted them to win. We talked a little bit about this yesterday. Everybody in America was going for the Lions and the Ravens. And I shouldn't have to explain why. It's for obvious reasons, and unfortunately, Lamar Jackson, he didn't save us, but we'll get to that in just a second as well. And oh yeah, by the way, a main reason I'm making this video is because you guys on Twitter, you said you want to see it. I said, hey, 150 likes and we'll make an NFL video, and here we are. We hit 150 likes in a couple of minutes right after the game. And by the way, if you're not following the Twitter, what are you doing? Go follow the Twitter if you're not already, because our Twitter community, it's hilarious and we have a good time over there. And also, I keep you guys up to date on videos and stuff like that. But getting that out the way, we got to talk about these two games and what just happened and what went down. And I'll be the first to tell you, I'm not happy. There's multiple reasons as to why I'm not happy, and I gotta give you some context to our situation before we go any farther. I'm sure if you're watching this video, you watched the video we posted last night talking about how the NFL script, it got leaked out. If you didn't see what happened, it was one of the weirdest and wildest things ever. A local news station in Memphis, Tennessee, they leaked out. Actually, you know what? I'll just roll the clip here. It explains it better. Matt, roll a clip.
Man, the NFL just got caught slipping. The NFL is slipping, all right? My buddy just sent this to me. He lives in the Memphis area. This is a local news station, okay? Reba McEntire, Usher, Post Malone are slated to perform at the Super Bowl. But look what it says. At San Francisco 49ers and Baltimore Ravens Super Bowl matchup on February 11th. Do we look dumb to you? We started off by seeing the purple and the red, right? And that theory has just been circulating around social media from the beginning of the season. And then you throw that in our face. You have local news stations already saying the 49ers and Baltimore Ravens Super Bowl going into it. Man, I'll tell you what, if this Super Bowl does happen, we got to start questioning some things right now, ladies and gents. We got to start questioning some things.
Guys? Like, does nobody else think that's weird?
All right, you see it right there. And also, I should have said this before I showed you the video clip. That video you just saw was posted over, I think it was like 8 or 9 days ago by now. It was posted before last week's games. Think about that. That's why all of it was getting a little creepy. But regardless of that, I know what everybody's sitting here saying. I know what everybody's going to run to the comment section and say, well, Matt, the script, or the quote-unquote script, it was wrong. Because in the video, it stated that the Baltimore Ravens, they were going to be playing the 49ers. And I'm going to give a big shout out to this guy because he commented this on the video last night, and I was like, yeah, he might have just manifested this. Being a Ravens fan, this sucks. It means the NFL will flip the script to make sure it looks like the leak was wrong. Man, I feel bad for him. You want to talk about nailing it on the head? That's what he did with this comment right here. When I was watching the Ravens and Chiefs games, I couldn't stop thinking about it in this comment. The NFL flipped the script. The good old reverse psychology. They tell us this is going to happen, then boom, last second, they switch it up. And I saw a bunch of you guys commenting the same thing, that, Matt, it's the reverse psychology. They just want you to think those two teams are going to win, and they're going to let the other two teams win. But obviously that didn't happen, because one of the teams that was predicted to win, the 49ers, they did win. And maybe we do this later in the week. Let me know if you guys want to see a conspiracy theory video about the NFL. But for right now, I more so want to break down these games and give y'all my analysis on what I witnessed. Trust me, I love conspiracy theories, especially when they involve sports just as much as the next person, but I don't want this video to be about that. I more so want to give you my perspective on both of these games and my unbiased opinion. Maybe we got some new people coming to the channel. Maybe some of y'all know this. To give you some context, I am not a fan of any NFL team. I do not have a favorite NFL team. I get it, that may be weird for some of y'all, but I grew up in Alabama, so there's not really any close NFL teams, and I'm just an Alabama college football fan. As far as it goes for the NFL, I just root for the Alabama players or former Bama players to succeed, and I just try to enjoy it. Just want to throw that out there, because you'll always have some people trying to say, whoa, he's biased because he might be a fan of this team. I'm not a fan of any of these teams that were playing today. So from everybody else, you could say they're biased because they may be a Ravens fan or they may be a Lions fan, but for me, no, you can't even use that argument. With that being said, I will throw this out there. Of course, like everybody else, I was rooting for the Lions and I was rooting for the Ravens. The reason I was rooting for the Lions is because I like underdogs and they're a big underdog. The Lions have straight up sucked my entire life, so yeah, I thought it'd be cool for them to go to a Super Bowl. On the flip side for the Ravens, I like Lamar Jackson. I've always thought he was underrated all throughout his career, even dating back to Louisville. This guy flat out dominated college football and people were still sleeping on him, and he won a Heisman Trophy. And I wouldn't go as far as to saying I hate the Chiefs because I have a lot of respect for Patrick Mahomes. I really like his game, but I wanted to see the Ravens win. And since the Chiefs and Ravens, they were the first game, we'll talk about it first. What I'm about to say next is going to be very, and I mean very unpopular, but this is as unbiased as it gets, and I firmly believe it. I want to start out with this because people always point their fingers towards this. I thought the refs called an amazing game. I thought they were really good. And I get it. People are going to be upset with that, but that's how I feel. Every single penalty they called on the Ravens, it was a penalty. The only real controversial one to me was the taunting call on Zay Flowers. And even still, with me saying that was the most controversial one, it was an easy call. Number one, you shove a defender back to the ground, then you get over him, spin the ball, and you stare him down. You just can't do that. Granted, I get it. Travis Kelce, arguably one of the most unlikable players in the NFL currently. Crazy how that happens because he used to be the most likable. But anyways, the point is, he was jawing back and forth and he was pushing players left and right. He never got a penalty for it. But I will say this. He didn't do anything like Zay Flowers did. If he would have done something like that, he probably would have got called for it. Outside of that, the couple of late hits on Patrick Mahomes, they were flags. They were penalties. One time, you just completely drill him in the face, and the next time, super high up late hit. And there's another one I'm missing. Oh, yeah, actually, this was the most controversial one. The holding call. I'll pop it up for you right here on the wide receiver that didn't get called. It could have been pass interference or holding, but still, at the end of the day, I thought the refs did a good job. I just don't see how anyone could point towards the refs or the reason the Ravens lost the game. No, the Ravens are the reason the Ravens lost the game. Plain and simple. And I tweeted this out. Don't take anything away from the Chiefs. I thought they played a good game, but the Ravens lost this one. They threw this game. And if I was a Ravens fan, I'd be pissed off because when another team just goes out there and beats me and they win the game, I'm not too mad because they were better. But in a game like this, in which the other team probably wasn't that much better than you, and you just went out there and you threw the game repeatedly, yeah, that's got to sting. You got Zay Flowers with arguably the worst sequence of all time on any drive. Catches a great pass, then he taunts the guy. Then he tries to redeem himself by diving in the end zone yet again. You should probably be protecting the ball considering you already got a first down, but I know he's trying to make a play. As a former athlete myself, I get it. He fumbles the ball out of the end zone. Well, that's 7 points right there. You just straight up lost. And I hate to point towards that one play, but you lost by 7 points, and that was a guaranteed 7 points. But to go on top of that, too, you're driving again, and Lamar Jackson just with very awful decision. Throwing it in triple coverage, underthrew it, too. It had no chance. So to sum it up here, when I got done watching that Chiefs and Ravens game, my immediate reaction was, nope. No rigging going on here. There wasn't any script. And we may come back to that game a little bit later, but let's talk about the Lions and 49ers. This game, it had me feeling completely the opposite. As when I'm speaking, the game ended about 15 minutes ago, and I'm still upset, and I'm slightly mad for the Lions. And I found myself watching the game in the third quarter, early on in the fourth quarter, just shaking my head going, man, what happened? It's so weird. The NFL is so weird. They do a good job of disguising it. Because I get done watching the Chiefs and Ravens game, I'm like, oh yeah, NFL ain't scripted. The NFL ain't rigged. But then I watch the Lions and 49ers game, I'm like, man, this is the most rigged and scripted thing I've ever seen in my life. I got to give it up to the NFL because they got me on the fence trying to decide whether or not this league's rigged or not. And I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. Growing up, I've always hated when somebody lost or their favorite team lost and they go, oh, well, this is rigged. I used to be the person to say, no, that's stupid, quit being a sore loser. I hate it. But the NFL is one of the very few sports where I can slightly believe that it might be rigged. Because make it make sense. Did you guys watch? Of course you watched it because you're watching this video. The first half of the Lions and 49ers game? Good gosh almighty, I thought the Lions were going to beat them by 50. The Lions were clicking on all cylinders. The 49ers couldn't stop their offense for anything. It was unreal. And then vice versa, the 49ers on offense couldn't do anything against the Lions defense. And I remember when the Lions kicked that field goal at the end of the first half to make it 24-7, I was thinking to myself, it's too good to be true. There's no way the Lions just blow this team out and win by 24 points. There's no way it's going to happen. I just knew it wasn't going to happen. I knew somehow, some way the 49ers were going to get back into the game. And a play I'm going to point towards here, and this was the biggest play in the game to me, is it's 24-10 and the Lions are driving, and it's 4th and 2. It might have been 4th and 3. I can't remember. I'm not looking at it, but I can remember it off the top of my head. They're in field goal range. It would have been a long field goal, but they were in field goal range, and they could have made it 27-10. But Dan Campbell being Dan Campbell, he ain't going to do that. And even with me knowing Dan Campbell and his mentality, I was still somewhat shocked he wasn't kicking a field goal there to make it yet again a 17-point game in the third quarter. But then again, I was like, 4th and 2, 4th and 3, up by 2 scores. You really don't have nothing too much to lose here. Might as well go for it. Well, on this play, Jared Goff makes a good pass to Reynolds, and he drops the ball. And what happens next? 49ers march down the field, and they score 7 points. So now it's not just like, oh, the 49ers are in the game. No, it's a one-score ball game. And also, if the Lions would have scored on that possession to make it a 3-score game, the 49ers don't have all that momentum. Because even if the 49ers go down and they score a touchdown, it is still a 10-point game. And when it's a 10-point game and you're on the losing side of it, you don't exactly feel right then that you can come back and you're in the game, because you know no matter what happens, it's a 2-score ball game. But when the Lions cut it to 7, you could feel the energy. I could feel it through my TV. I was like, oh yeah, the 49ers, they can feel this comeback. They know it's about to happen. And then what happens next? Jahmyr Gibbs fumbles, and that was pretty much wraps. After Reynolds dropped that pass, I'm talking about the first one, because then, oh yeah, are we not going to bring this up too? It's 3rd and 10. Wasn't it 3rd and 10? It was 3rd and long or something. It hits him in the chest. Like, what is going on? And how did I almost forget to bring this up? Hold on, my apologies. After the Lions don't get that first down when it's 24-10, Brock Purdy throws one of the easiest interceptions in your life, hits the Lions defender right in the face mask, and Brandon Ayuk catches it on the goal line. I remember like it happened 4 seconds ago. I was shocked. Normally I don't have any emotions when I'm watching a game. I have less emotions than a brick. You know, I'll tweet out, oh my gosh, that's crazy. But in reality, I'm just sitting there like a brick. But when that happened, I stood up. I was like, I had to walk around and catch some air. And I was telling myself, it's just destiny for the Lions to be the Lions. If you know what I'm talking about, you know. That play alone, the interception hitting your defender in the face mask and then the other guy catching it and it leads to 7 points, that's the most Lion play ever. And I'm not here to tell you because the 49ers came back that the NFL's 100% rigged. No. But here's what I am here to tell you. I can hear out the arguments now when people say the NFL's rigged, because I want you to think about this. I'm going to offer you this proposal. In the first half, the Lions can't be stopped on offense, and their defense is playing amazing. On the flip side, the 49ers in the first half, defense awful, and the offense was awful. Fast forward time into the second half, the script flipped. The Lions offense, trash. The Lions defense, trash. The 49ers offense, great. The defense, great. You see what I'm saying? Is that not weird? It's not like one side of the ball for the Lions got bad. Both sides of it got bad. Same thing for our 49ers. Both sides of the ball got really good. And then to go on top of that, you got Reynolds, very reliable wide receiver, dropping not one but 2 routine catches. And if that wasn't good enough for you, you got a defensive back dropping a wide open interception. We're not talking about JV football players here, guys. We're not talking about high school football players. We're not even talking about college football players. We're talking about professionals. And the Lions dropped not 1, not 2, but 3 routine catches in the second half on offense and defense combined. So I know what you're sitting there saying. Well, Matt, what are you trying to tell me? What are you trying to say, man? Well, what I'm trying to say is yeah, I definitely understand why people say the sport is rigged. Reynolds dropped a 4th down pass, which would have resulted in a first down. A couple drives later, he drops yet again another pass that would have resulted in a first down. Instead, the Lions got to punt the ball. And then your defensive back drops an interception that then leads to 7 points for 49ers. And I genuinely feel so bad for that franchise and, more importantly, the fans, because they needed this game. They need a Super Bowl win. They need it. I don't believe in saying they deserve it, because I don't think anybody deserves anything in this life, but they need it. And I can't imagine the pain that my Lions fans are going through, because I feel bad for y'all. I'm in pain, and I'm not even a fan. It's an awful situation. Now, before we end out this video, let's look at it from this perspective. Because I know some people are going to say this, well, Matt, the Lions sucking in the second half and the 49ers playing great in the second half is all about halftime adjustments. And which I totally understand and I totally get. I mean, I've been a part of basketball games myself where my team were losing by 25 at half and we come back to win the game by 10. I'll end off the video with this. If news came out tomorrow morning, breaking news on ESPN that the NFL is rigged, I wouldn't be shocked to the slightest of bits. I wouldn't. Now, with that being said, I'm not saying the 49ers and Lions game was rigged. I'm just telling you I wouldn't be shocked by hearing that news. And I want to make this evidently clear. I am the last person to ever admit the NFL would be rigged, because I don't want to do that. I think that's, what's the phrase I'm looking here for? I guess I just say a sore loser's mentality. And the fan in me in general of the NFL, I don't want to believe it's rigged. I don't. But I tell you this much. It's very fitting that the two most marketable teams in these games made the Super Bowl. Do what you want with that information. Let me know your thoughts down below. But